Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 172. In this episode, we're going to be talking about feeling good after the holidays. Man, the holidays can be great. The holidays can be stressful. They can be rough. There's so much emotion, so many different things going on. But sometimes after the holidays, there's like the after Christmas blues or after holiday blues, just because there's so much amped up emotions during the holidays. So how can you feel good now? Let's talk about it. All right, with that, let's get to the show. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I am so glad you're here. Today, let's talk about who else wants to feel good for the holidays. Christmas is done. The presents have been opened. There are no more surprises coming your way. It's back to the grind, I guess. You'll be doing the same things that you've always done just because you've always done them. This can lead to feelings of sadness or loneliness. And today, I'm going to share some of those common feelings and emotions that come up after the holidays or through the holidays and then after them, and how you can deal with them or how you can thrive after the holidays. Because man, like I said, there's a lot going on. It can be stressful. It can be overwhelming. There are certainly good parts too, but there's just a lot of emotions at play. A lot of surprises, right? Presents. You don't necessarily know what you're getting if you're getting anything. And then you get something, it could be great. It could be maybe not so great, but there's just a lot of emotion going on, tugging at, your heartstrings. And so then after it's like, how do you decompress? How do you manage it all? So let's get to it. All right. After the holidays, there's often an expectation hangover. There are so many expectations for the holidays. When things don't go as planned, it can leave us feeling upset or leave you feeling like you missed out on the Christmas that you deserved. So sometimes it's good to ask yourself some questions. What was it, meaning the holiday? What was the holiday missing? Or what was it missing? Is there a different way of looking at it? How could the situation with the holidays have been for your benefit? So let's dig in a little bit deeper. As I did that, I started pushing up my sleeves, let's go, let's dig in. But okay, so that wasn't on purpose. So let me give you an example. I planned to go to the neighboring state of Oregon, or to Cannon Beach, which is in Oregon, the day after Christmas. That's kind of been a Christmas tradition, maybe the last 5 years or so. Several people from the family, or as much family members can make it, go to Oregon, and it's fun. It's relaxing, right? It's right by the beach. You get to walk the beach, and it's always just been a place of relaxation. But guess what? It snowed heavily here, very heavily. So heavy for Washingtonians anyway. We don't necessarily know how to deal with the snow here. We're used to the rain. So that meant I couldn't go to Cannon Beach like I had planned. The roads just weren't safe. And I immediately felt sad. I had taken time off work and I was sitting alone at home. Insert teardrop emoji here, or sad face emoji. But I was upset because that was the exciting part about Christmas to me. It was the day after going to Cannon Beach to just relax on the beach, right? Yeah, it's rainy, wet usually. But it's just that cathartic piece of walking along the beach. So I had also paid for my dogs to be in boarding, and I couldn't even pick them up. Because of the snow, right? So I couldn't even get to where they were to pick them up early. So I'm paying for their boarding, and it paid for like the extra, like, oh, put them on the play dates, which I typically don't do, but this time I did. And so my dogs were in boarding. So I'm like, okay, now I'm home with no dogs, no family, no nothing, just me. Like, it can be weird. So I thought to myself, I can be sad about this. I can be miserable, but it's not really going to change the situation. Or I can use this as like the retreat that I needed. Use it as time for myself without any distractions. So kind of ask myself, what was it missing? Well, my holidays were missing the trip to Cannon Beach. Cannon Beach is an oasis for me. It's like a place where I can just feel peaceful, feel at ease, get any of the distractions out of the way because I'm away from home. But then I thought, okay, if that's what it was missing, if that's what I really wanted, how can I make that peace in my everyday life? How can I make that happen here at home? How can you make it happen at home? Do you have to go somewhere else to find peace? Or is there something you can do in your daily life to find it right where you are? Or whatever it was that you were missing, is there some way you can bring that about now, after the holidays even? So maybe your holidays were missing love, like it was just angry and hateful and whatever. Okay, how can you find love now? And I'm not necessarily meaning like romantic love, but like, say you don't have family members that you get along with. Say it's not a loving relationship with your family members. How can you find that love with, like, maybe you have a spouse. Are they loving? Okay, you can find that love now. You can be around people who love you and support you. But some of the things that we're missing, and you realize that you missed from that holiday time, how can you bring that into your life now? Don't just think that because it didn't happen on the day of Christmas, that it can't ever happen. You can still bring that feeling that you missed into your everyday life. So that is exactly why I'm trying to bring the peace from the beach into my house right now, so that I can have that peaceful experience. Maybe that means watching less TV or being online less or fidgeting less, right? Okay, but I'm going to find that peace at my house, that very thing that I was desiring. Okay, the second question. Is there a different way of looking at it? Is there a different way that I can look at not being able to go to Oregon? Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't got my oil changed like I should have. And I didn't realize it until it was like Christmas night and I was supposed to be leaving early next morning. And so I kind of started to stress about that because I hadn't got the oil change. It was only a little bit over and it probably would have been fine. But then also nothing was open on Sunday. Like no oil change places were open on Sunday. So I wouldn't be able to get it done. So I was like, I'll probably be fine. But I like to get an oil change before I go further away. But also I was at the mileage to where I should have got it done, just barely over. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise, right? Maybe it was for my benefit that I didn't go, because what if my car would have broke down? Also, I had an urge to clean my house before the new year. We'll get into that more here in a little bit, but not going could give me the time to clean my house that I had been wanting. And then I wouldn't be spending money like I thought I would be spending. So there could be more money in my pocket, or there would be more money in my pocket that I wouldn't be spending. Because, after the holidays, you always feel like you spent too much, buying gifts and all that kind of stuff. And so this way, I wouldn't be overspending. How cool is that? That felt good. So then that was a different way of looking at it, but also how it could be for your benefit. If the holidays didn't go the way you wanted them to, how could it be for your benefit? And so for me, like, okay, it gives me time alone. And maybe my dogs needed a retreat. As funny as that sounds, maybe they needed something fun, something different to do. And then the dogs being away could really make me focus on me instead of distracting me. A lot of times I love my dogs, right? But then like if you're feeling emotional, if you're feeling something, like you can distract yourself with your dogs because like don't your dogs love you, right? Even if you're having a bad day, they typically love you. But then them being gone, having no distractions and just being me. So then I would just have to feel my feelings and deal with me being completely alone, which sometimes can be unnerving, but it might be necessary, right? To just sit with how you feel, or instead of trying to fix everything, whether you fix it with food, fix it with a drink, fix it with your dogs, or, certain things that I'm not saying it's completely unhealthy, not saying that at all, but I'm just saying maybe it was just for my benefit. Maybe it was for my benefit to deal with my own emotions, to have my own retreat at home without feeding the dogs, taking them out to go potty, all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying it's a pain, but it's just one less thing. So maybe it is for my benefit. What happened during your holidays that was for your benefit, even if it didn't seem like it at the time? So I would say, if you had an expectation hangover, there's no need to feel bad about it. Life is constantly changing. And as you know, it's not all gumdrops and lollipops. But it may be a good idea, I think it's a good idea, to be curious, to ask yourself questions about how you're feeling and dig into it a little bit, right? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? And however that holiday experience went, how can you apply it to your life afterwards? Do you want more love in your life? Do you want more friends in your life? Do you want more joy in your life? Do you want less criticism, less negativity? Like, think of all those things. If there was a lot of joy, cool, keep more of that. If there was a lot of negativity and criticism, okay, how can you remove that from your life? You don't have to remove your friends and family, but, how can you minimize that exposure? If you want to, you can get rid of them or not have as much contact with them. But if it's a negative experience and constantly drains you and doesn't make you feel good about yourself, okay, what can you do to minimize that? Or what can you do to offset that? So when you're not around them, okay, all is good in your life, right? Or you're going to do the things that you want to do, the things that bring you joy and bring you happiness. Because ultimately, this is your life. Friends and family can say what they want or what they think is best for you, but nobody knows that but you. You are like the captain of your own life, and you know what's best for you. All right, let's move on. How can that dead-end job help you? So you got a few days off work, and you don't want to go back to a job you hate. I totally get that. Sometimes a few days off can make things that you want or that you don't want become even clearer. Time off can give you the clarity that you need and make what you want seem more obvious. So if you have that feeling of dread about going back to work, tap into that, listen to that, and use it to motivate you to make a change. So use this as your kick in the butt to get moving, and ask yourself some questions around it. Ask yourself why you're feeling that way. What do you love about your job? What do you hate about your job? What would you rather be doing? Just start getting curious, start asking yourself some questions, dig into it, see where that feeling of, it's Monday, or I got to go back to work, do the same thing that I hate doing, but ask yourself some questions, dig into it, and really see where it's coming from. Maybe you're happy with the job you have, but you aren't happy with your salary. So use this as to ask your boss for a raise, right? Gather evidence so that you can go to your boss and say, hey, this is what the average person that does my job or does all these tasks that I do, this is what they usually get paid. I'm getting paid X, but they get paid Y, and put a proposal out there for what you think you should be getting paid. This feeling of blah or wanting something new with your job does not have to be a bad thing. For me, whenever that pain becomes too much to endure, it's about the time that I'm willing to finally make a change. But it often takes that pain to become too strong or too much that I'm not willing to deal with it anymore, that I'm willing to make a change. So maybe you don't really hate your job. Maybe you just want a raise, but you just needed the boost to do it. So start looking at that. And if you truly don't like your job, okay, that could be a sign to start looking for something new. So look at the things that you hate about your job and try not to find another job that does those things. Look at the things you love about your job and find all of the other job positions that would incorporate that. And don't limit yourself. Think outside of the box. Sometimes you could do one thing and it's seemingly unrelated, but it could totally help you in another position, right? So don't block yourself off from opportunities. Keep an open mind and be creative. One thing is like men often overestimate their abilities when applying for another job, and women tend to underestimate their abilities for applying to another job. So just because you don't think you meet the qualifications to a T doesn't mean you shouldn't apply. And also, how can you be creative? Maybe they're looking for communication skills, and at work, you've never done any type of communication. Okay, have you done Toastmasters? Which is like a public speaking group, and it's nationwide or several, it's probably it's international. So you could do Toastmasters. And if you haven't done it, you could start doing it, right? And at least you say, oh, I'm enrolled in Toastmasters, which is good at communications and public speaking. Okay. So you don't have to have necessarily communications in your job, but you learn it through, it's not volunteer, but it's just something you're doing on your own time. But still, you're doing it for free. You're doing it on your own time, doing this Toastmasters and perfecting your speaking. But that speaks volumes too, because you're doing it on your own. You're investing in yourself. So who wouldn't want to hire somebody like that? So all I'm saying is if you want a new job and you don't fit the qualifications perfectly, don't be afraid to think outside of the box a little bit and think ways that you do fit or how it could be a benefit to that company to hire you. Okay, let's move on. Self-care on lock. Make sure you have your self-care down to a T after the holidays. Okay, you don't have to make it perfect. I don't know why I said down to a T, but make it a priority in your life. Self-care is so important. Now, more than ever, is the time to dip into doing more of the things that you love doing, to appreciate the things around you, and seek more of those things that you love. If you love music, then be more intentional about listening to music or about singing. Just whatever it is that you love, be more intentional. So ask yourself, what brings you joy? How can you have more of that thing that brings you joy? How can you have more of that in your life? Now I want to ask you on the self-care front, it's so important to take care of yourself, but I mean, I beat myself up too. I was going to say as much as the next person. I don't know how much the next person beats themselves up, but we all tend to beat ourselves up a lot, right? And so if you had a kid and they were feeling down, how would you treat them? What would you say to them? Consider treating yourself that same way and saying those same things to yourself. Because we are so horrible and so mean to ourselves and the things we say to ourselves. And even if you're not a parent, it's like, do you have kids around you? Do you have nieces, nephews, anything like that? How would you treat them? Would you be rude to them? Would you say the things to them that you say to yourself? Probably not. If you focus on all the bad or all of the negative things that you are doing or that come your way, all the things that you're doing wrong, then those things will be amplified in your mind. If, however, you focus on self-care and nurturing yourself, then that will grow. And you'll recognize those feelings that feel good, the feelings that feel joyous, the feelings of taking care of yourself and feeling protected. You are perfect as you are. You don't need to be fixed. And I think women need to hear this so often, or we need to tell ourselves this so often, like, I don't need to be fixed. I am perfect as I am. And maybe that's your mantra. And you say that over and over and over again. Because we need to be reminded. You are perfect as you are. You do not need to be fixed. All right. Make room for the new. Belongings can bog you down. You may have just got new gifts for Christmas, which means it's the perfect time to clear out the old. This does two things. It helps you to enjoy the new things that you got and puts them front and center in your house. And it also makes room for new things in your life. Sometimes it can be so hard to get rid of the old things, right? So hard to let go of something because it's like, what if I never get something like this again? Or what if I don't have enough? But Louise Hay, who is an international best-selling author of the book You Can Heal Your Life, and she's written several other books as well, she says, cluttered closets means a cluttered mind. As you clean the closet, say to yourself, I am cleaning out the closets of my mind. Before a new year, or before the new year, consider getting rid of any clutter. It can be so freeing. Don't believe me? Okay, let me give you an example. Before my divorce was final, I didn't have most of my belongings. I was living in an apartment and I felt like I had nothing. To my surprise, eventually it felt amazing. I felt so clean and my space felt so clear, or my space felt clean and clear of clutter. And there was a beauty to having less. When my divorce was final, I got a lot of my belongings back. And it cluttered things back up again. I miss that feeling of not being cluttered. Like there's just a freedom that I cannot explain, and I never experienced it before that until that situation. And then it's like, ooh, that was one of the happiest times. That was one of the best times. But I had so little. So for the new year, that's my goal, is to get things clean again. Get rid of the clutter, get rid of the extra. It seems like there's a feeling of safety of having extra things. If the worst was to happen tomorrow, oh, then I have this or I have that. Like that's what you think, right? Like, oh, I need backup just in case I went broke tomorrow or I didn't have enough money to buy something, but it's a feeling of lack. And anyway, it turns out it doesn't really work that way. Having more things, at least not for me, it hasn't worked that way. Having more things tends to bog me down or feel more heavy. And there's just a freedom in having less. And I've done the KonMari method before. Actually, when I was in that apartment, I did the KonMari method as well. And she says to only have things that bring you joy, to only keep things around you that you absolutely love. And yes, this might have been reflected in the quote that I told you from Louise Hay, but I also have heard before that your space is a reflection of your mind. And when I heard that in the past, it really made me anxious and made me uncomfortable. But also I knew it was true. Not to say that I've fixed it since I knew that it was true, but I'm going to work on that now, right? Because I just had this urge. I can't even explain it. Just in the last few days, just to clean and just to get rid of. Just get rid of as much as possible. Again, because the belongings bog you down. So I want you to feel good after the holidays. You deserve it. While I want you to feel good about your life, after the holidays, I specifically want to be working with you to help you with your health and your finances. And there will be more coming soon about how I can help you specifically with your finances. I cannot wait. But I know that after the holiday season, like we tend to overeat, we tend to overspend, and it can be a lot. It's like, what do we do? Where do we turn? So I have a plan for that, and I definitely want to work to help you with that. So stay tuned for that. And no matter where you are and how you are feeling, I just want you to know that you will get through this. Sometimes this rainy season in your life can make room for the best season of your life. So I, for one, cannot wait to see where you end up. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to know from you on IG or on the gram how your holidays were. Was everything perfect? Perfect? Meh. Was everything perfect? Or did shit go wrong? So I would love for you to take a screenshot of this episode and throw it in your Instagram stories and tag me. Or if you don't feel comfortable tagging me because you don't want other people to see it, then DM me at Ordinary to Badass. Let me know how your holidays went. Do you feel great after the holidays? Do you feel motivated and energized? Or were the holidays hard? Definitely hit me up on the gram. Let me know how you're feeling or how your holidays were. Nothing makes me happier than when I hear from you guys and know what's going on with you and how you can relate, right? So I would love to hear from you on Instagram. Again, my handle's at Ordinary to Badass. All right. With that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.